All right, folks, Simon here. This is another Chandrian Invitational Tak Tournament match, this time between NohatCoder and Abyss. And this is a 7x7 Tak game. This is going to be Nohat in white, Abyss in black. They each get 2 capstones, as the rules 2 sevens. And this is on a 15-minute timer with a 20-second increment and 2 komi. And again, this is a 1-game match, not a 2-game match, so it's just 1 game to determine who comes out on top of this particular matchup. And this is going to be exciting. Both top players. Nohat has been number one, number 2 for years, and Abyss has been top 3 for or top 4 or whatever he is for a very, very long time. So this is going to be an excellent game, and I can't wait to jump into it. So let's get started with this game in Chandrian Invitational Tak Tournament of 7x7 Tak. All right, and the first move is A7 up there. And will we see adjacent corners opposite? We will see adjacent corners here. And then white immediately going for that center control. And I do think that is the best tactic here for the 7x7 size to jump right into that center square. Black going for sort of this knight's opening sort of play pattern for that first move. And we'll see white is going for that vertical line right down the center. Black is going to want to play next to white's line here eventually. He is starting to do his own thing, but white does have momentum here. But black content, for the moment at least, to build and connect towards this anchor point. But white just going to keep going for that center line. I wonder if we'll see a capstone early here on turn 4 or 5 from black. Maybe go for interrupting that line. No, instead we see flat come down at c5. That is adjacent to this line and is able to come across and interrupt this threat. And so then I think we'll see black start to build along maybe their own threat here. They could build on the other side or build down here some more, but I think that they might be content to go along the B line if they feel they can contain this. But Abyss knows Nohat's a strong player. Nohat knows Abyss is a strong player. So looks to be that's not the case. He's going to be playing down here at c4 to give himself a little bit more opportunities to come over and interrupt this white threat. And this is not a tak threat yet, but it will be on the very next turn when white plays here at either d1 or at d7. That will be a vertical tak threat. Black now. Let's see if black drops maybe a capstone at c3. I don't hate that position. That's actually a pretty good spot. Pretty in the center. Oh, instead we're seeing it over at e4. I like that too. E4 is able to come across, capture that center square, interrupt this tak threat, also start building towards that horizontal. I think it's pretty good. I feel like this opening from Nohat is similar to the opening he had in his game against Aliano 2, and it just didn't work too well in that game. Granted, that was a horizontal line that he was going for there instead of a vertical. But I don't know. I feel like a lot of eggs in this basket, whereas black can shift to vertical or horizontal pretty easily here. And I don't know, maybe we'll even see a second black capstone here at e3. Who knows? But I think it would not be unexpected to see black play down here at c3 maybe, or e3, or e5. Any of those, whether it be a flat or a capstone, would be fine positions, I'd say. So if he's going to go for a capstone, not at c3, I'd say one of these two for the second capstone. C3 would work well with a flat. And we already can tell, based on the time differentiation, that Nohat is playing quite quickly, up to 17 minutes on the clock. And again, they only have 20-second increment here. So 20 seconds is added to their time after every turn. And Nohat already up to 17 minutes. whereas Abyss down below 14 minutes now. And Abyss is known for taking quite a bit of time at the early part of the game and then playing on increment for 30 turns. But Black does decide to drop that capstone here at e5. And I think the reason why this is a good play, and I think it works, is because this capstone cuts off White's capstone, but also cuts off White's ability to connect to the rest of this vertical line here, and works towards this horizontal line at the same time. I feel like that capstone position is really strong. Probably just a touch stronger than the e3 position, but still quite good. E3 would have been fine too, but I think e5 is probably his best play here, and he made it. Now, Black can continue on playing off here at f5, and that's what he does. Playing at f5 starts going for this horizontal line. White is then forced to kind of come around. I'd say maybe Black playing g4 here would work. Playing at f4 allows White to come over with the capstone and move that around a little bit, give it a little bit more mobility, whereas g4 gets White to be able to place a flat here at f4 since it's not an attack threat. It's 2 moves from attack threat, in fact, placing at g4. So quite a bit there. Black could also play up at g6. G6 can be cut off more, but it interrupts White's vertical line more as well. So g6 I feel like might be the better play, even though I was initially thinking g4 would be the better starting move. All right, let's see. What is it that Abyss is going to do? Taking about a minute on this turn. Does go for the g6 placement. Thinking more long-term here, as Abyss is wont to do. All right. White playing at f6, ready to come over onto g6, cut that off, and go for that vertical line yet again. I think that's fine. Black could sort of defend again by playing at g4. Could make the connection over at b6, b7. Could come up with the capstone onto d5, bringing this one up. Something like that. But I feel like, and he's leaving this here because once you've got a connection to this line, this is impossible to stop because of the way that's connected there. And he might be saving this move for last, which I know I and a lot of other players will do that. We'll try to save this kind of move for last because it makes this sort of easy to spot Tinue pattern, but it's also easy to spot for your opponent as well. So I don't feel like it's something that can work too well when you're going up against an opponent like NohatCoder or Abyss. And it looks like Abyss had come to the same conclusion, decided to play here at a6, get that anchor point in, ready to come up with that capstone maybe on the next turn to make that attack threat finally. And coming up with the capstone not only would create that attack threat, but it would mean all of this line here is untouchable by White. Can't do anything about that. So that's a good position to be in. White still has yet to play that second capstone as well. I guess waiting for the right moment, perhaps. Black now coming up with this capstone would result in some captures going on, probably here onto f5 to stop this attack threat from happening, and also to actually no, it would probably be the g6, f6 to the right onto g6, which would do that. And that would cut off that threat and also start working towards that vertical yet again. So Black's got to think, all right, do I want to play maybe here at g4 first before coming up with d4? Or do I want to just go for it now? It's tough to say, tough to say. Black taking more time yet again. NohatCoder at 17 and a half minutes. Abyss down to 11. That's 6.5 minute gap between the two of them. And that is a big gap. But again, Abyss is pretty comfortable, spending a lot of his time in the early game, making sure he's building up this really strong initial position that he can then play out from later on in the game. Nohat is starting to play a lot quicker than he used to. These last few months, he's been playing very, very quick games. And I understand that, especially in this tournament, because a lot of these games will get down where both players are really, really low on time. And Nohat giving himself that initial buffer is really great, but is it at the cost of a stronger initial position? Tough to say. That early game is so hard to nail down. It is a tough one for sure. No one's really quite figured it out just yet. But I'd say Abyss and Fwib are coming close to that. Abyss still taking his time, down below 10 minutes now on the clock. No sign of making a move. What will he do here? Plays down at C2. Huh. Okay, I understand that. C2 is played here for a couple reasons. Number one, he can continue on his vertical line. Number two, he can come across onto D2 to cut off White's vertical line. And then White immediately dropping a flat here at C3 to cut off Black's ability to connect to that C2 flat and go for the vertical threat. Also works towards White's horizontal. Black now dropping a flat here at B3 to come across, capture, and make that threat. White then saying, all right, I'll play at B2 so I can come down, capture, and make this horizontal threat and cut off your vertical yet again. So a lot of movement going on there, a lot of movement. Not sure if that's the move. I don't know. This direction just seems... I don't know. Doesn't seem too concrete to me. And it's giving White more abilities to expand in the horizontal direction, whereas before White was really focused on the vertical. Again, White still hasn't dropped that second capstone, which is crazy to me. Oh man, the very quick. All right, so if we look back, he plays at C1, which is attack threat, capturing over with B3. And then immediately, White comes down with C3 to stop the attack threat and to start working even closer towards that horizontal threat of their own. This is where I would not be surprised to see Black drop a wall here at C3. A wall at C3 would be a good spot. White still has that capstone to drop, and White wouldn't be able to get in position for this wall, I don't think. All right, and he does drop that wall. I feel like that's pretty strong. That is pretty strong. And then we see white run away from that wall. Doesn't want black to get that stack. If black follows with the wall, we're gonna see white's capstone finally drop. Black dropping just a flat here is also fine. It threatens this stack here. But yeah, I think we're gonna be seeing a capstone from white pretty soon, probably to secure this stack. Now this just seems like it's inviting white to drop that capstone at c2. And not gonna do it. What? g4 instead? I'm very surprised by this. What is the play here? Now, is black gonna drop a flat at c2 now? So white can, on this turn, drop, or on the next turn, if black doesn't fill in here at c2, drop a capstone here. And that's going to be a attack threat in both the vertical and horizontal directions. While it is cut off pretty easily by this wall or flat, something like that, I don't know. It just feels like that was a very weak response. I think that the capstone here at c2 would have been a much stronger position. I don't know about that. He's clearly trying to set up something, but I don't know what that is. Because black clearly wants to fill in here at c2. Doesn't want white to drop a cap there. So I don't know what white's plan is if black fills in at c2. All right. So we see instead black play g6 minus. All right, so g6 minus, this is attack threat from black. Black can come up with this capstone. Oh, I am intrigued by this position. Okay, white comes up, ready to capture over. If black comes over, will white drop a capstone there? Essentially cutting off all of black's horizontal line. Or, man, this is tough to say. And Nohat up to 18 minutes on the clock now. Abyss down below 6. That's a 12-minute buffer between the two. Okay, so we see black drop a wall here, ready to come up and capture onto g5 to cut that off. White still has yet to drop that second capstone. White comes over, daring black to come right with the capstone, which would open this up, and probably white would drop a capstone here at e5. So I would say don't do that. I feel like white's capstone dropping at e5 is way stronger than you capturing this stack. Instead, come up with the wall, probably. Come up to g5. Or fill in here at c2 first. If he fills in at c2 first, then white drops something here, and then black wouldn't be able to come up. They'd have to come left which might result in the capstone smash. I'm not sure. I like G4 plus. I think that's the move to make here. I think that it may result in G4 or maybe a capstone. No, not a capstone dropping. G4 wouldn't be. Yeah, I'm not sure here. I am not sure. Because there are some options of thrashing back and forth here, but that goes out the window if white drops a cap or a wall on G4 or G6. Dropping a cap here while it's up against the edge of the board and away from all of this action, it would be an anchor point to this side of the board to come left and work towards a vertical. Yeah, now this wall can come left to capture. I think even leaving behind the flat on G5 would be good. It might force white to drop a capstone here at G6 if he does do that, though. But I do really like that position. Leaving behind the flat allows him to come back and forth and capture and secure this position, which would then likely result in D5 coming left. Then black will either drop a flat here or come up with C5. If he comes up with C5, white drops a capstone here at D5 and keeps black from smashing, and they effectively cut themselves off in this little square. But I don't know. There's a lot that could go on in the next few moves here. Black filling in at G6 first. I think that's probably pretty smart before coming left onto F5. He doesn't want white to be able to drop that capstone there. That's a smart play. If he comes up with D5, white now dropping the capstone here. This is a tack threat in the horizontal direction coming down. Black may decide to bring this wall to the right, capture onto D3 to cut that off. It's renewed by placing at E2, but then cut off yet again with the 2D3 minus, though it would give white the opportunity to smash that and regain those flats, liberate those captives. Also, this is a vertical tack threat at the same time, going from C1 all the way up here to F7. And this does cut both of those off. Oh, he decides to bring the cap down instead of the wall. Interesting. Yeah, so placing here at A2, E6, or F7 would have been a road here. And black's come down to cut all those off with this capstone. Now, all of those threats are now renewed in addition to another one. Black needs to bring this capstone here over onto E3. I'm really surprised that black brought the capstone down instead of bringing the wall over. I'm not quite sure why you went with that. But this is a threat Black needs to respond to. Because it's in both directions yet again, both renewed. Black down below 3 minutes on the clock. No hat, 17:20. Black can also cut him off with D2 plus, but that's not that great. White can renew the vertical just by placing an E1 after. Okay, Black coming down with the capstone instead of coming right. I expected him to come right. Now he has to come right again. Either with the capstone or with this E1 D1 flat. That is a tough position here for Black. I feel like moving that capstone down was a bit of a blunder. I don't think that was necessary. I think that this wall could have done it, but I'm not sure. Now, White's filled in. This is another tag threat, throwing C1 over onto E1. Black can stop that by capturing up with the 2E1 stack. 2E1 plus would cut off the vertical threat. I don't know about this. I don't know about it. Comes over with the capstone. White can renew by placing at F7. White renews with F7 is what my guess is going to be. Though if he does, then Black can bring this capstone over finally, or this wall over finally, onto F5. I would be very surprised if that's not what happens. Okay, so he renewed instead with E6 instead of with F7. E6 being the vertical line here. And again, he can throw this C1 stack over to E1. Black brings over that wall. White may renew here with the E5 placement. That's exactly what they do. Will he bring 2E1 plus? I feel like Black is scrambling to survive here when it seemed like he had the upper hand a little bit earlier. Just a few moves back, but I think his move on... What was it? I think it was his move on 21. Yeah, his move on 21 I feel like is what started this. Maybe he was too passive by placing a G6 on 20. But I feel like that's what started Black's problems here. If Black brings this wall left, White wants to smash that. I'm guessing. Brings the capstone right instead. We're going to see White renew again with the D5 placement. White can just drop a flat here, renew that threat yet again. I'm really surprised by these moves from Abyss here. Not sure about this. Maybe this 2E1 plus move needs to happen. Yeah, this is not working out well for black here. White can drop there at d5. I'm surprised they haven't already. Probably looking for something else. Maybe something they can clinch this with. What is the play here for black once white does that? I don't know why white hasn't played a d5 already. White does have plenty of time here. If you look at that 15 minutes in between the two of them, that's the start time of the tournament, game. 15 minutes on the clock is what you start with, and that's basically how much time is between these two players right now. It's one heck of a buffer. Nohat finally able to take plenty of his time now, spending a couple minutes to think about this particular move. And I'd say that if you're spending this long not taking time, this is probably the time you're gonna want to spend that time on this turn, because it's getting to the point now where things are really starting to avalanche and they're really starting to go in white's favor. White probably taking a hard look to see why black moved that capstone over, knowing that white's just going to fill in with at d5, and maybe there's some sort of trap that he's not seeing. Oh, I think I might see it. I think I might see the trap. Okay, so if white fills in at d5, okay, this is it. Black throws d2 capstone all the way up to d5. And then what that does is it makes it so white can't make this vertical threat anymore. Then white is going to be focused on this horizontal, which they totally have. But they kind of don't, because then this wall stack can spread downward and cut off this horizontal threat and also retain black's horizontal threat. And if white fills in at d5, that ultimately works out for black. I think that's why white's taking so much time on this turn, because white saw this capstone throw move that I was completely unaware of, and that would work out really, really well. If I were in white right now, 2 minutes ago, I'd have placed at d5 and I would have been in trouble. So that's going to be good. I like that. Oh yeah, he won't have to spread down, he'll spread up with the stack. That's right. Not spreading down, he'll spread up with the stack, because spreading up with the stack would actually be a road. White sees that, comes right, ready to smash on this stack. That is fun. That was a great thought there. White taking the time where it mattered. Yeah, I definitely would have been hurting there. Ooh. Abyss down below 1 minute on the clock. 40 seconds. Nohat, 14 minutes on the clock. Black throws the capstone over to smash, which I was looking at, and I thought that was probably the best move. What's the play here for white? Does white fill in here at e5? No. Filling in at e5 doesn't do much for him. It does force black to move the stack to the left, but then that cuts off white's ability to go for the vertical. All right, so we do see the toss from white moving to the left Doesn't make a tack threat, but it does make a positive flat count differential move and work against black building that road that he's been going for. And I think this is where we're going to see black start to take control back. Really, really well played from black to set that up. And great play from white to be able to spot it. That's for sure. Really, really well done. Really well done. That's awesome. All right, black brings that stack upward, ready to come across and cut off white's action on this side to ruin that vertical. I like it. Not a tack threat, though. Black would need to place at c6 first. White now makes the tack threat, placing here at e4. Does make the connection here. White can toss this c1 all the way over onto e2, or e1, for that vertical road. Black can cut that off by spreading left with the capstone, though probably doesn't want to. Instead brings the e1 stack up onto e2, and this cuts off that vertical threat and doesn't sacrifice black's position up here. Black's been able to come back from a really tricky situation here using that capstone a really powerful way. Let's take a look at flat count as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 plus 2 is 12 for black, and 12 for white. Yeah. Pluto in the chat saying F1 does continue the tack threat for white. White would be able to just toss this down to make the vertical tack threat. Instead, drops a wall here at c6, wanting to stop black from spreading over, placing at c6 and making that road. So now black is going to be filling in over here at b4. Potentially going for something along here or along this side. All right, white placing an A2, stopping black from making that that vertical line on that side. Black now sort of pinning and may decide to capture onto c1 at some point, maybe after placing at d1 first to be able to maintain that pin, so if the white capstone does come down or something, black can throw to the left. White now placing here at f2, not the tack threat that would have that f1 would have been, but threatening this stack at e2. All right, so now we see black play at f1, knowing that that was a possibility on the next turn here. And now white plays at e1, makes that tack threat yet again, able to come left with that f2. Black needs to do something about that. Comes up. Now I don't think white's going to toss this capstone down just yet, but may decide to play at f1 as sort of a ploy. Oh, does decide to toss the capstone down first. Another tack threat in the vertical direction. Black comes over with c4 to stop that. Not easily renewed. this threat. I think black wants this wall to move at some point, maybe move down. If it does, he can spread this left and go for that threat in the horizontal direction. Bring the whole stack up, drop 2, drop 3, drop 1, make that. That would be good, but he can't do that while this wall is still here. Really cramping his style. Alright, then we see white play over here at c4. Again, Abyss down so low on time, but been playing on the increment this whole time now for the past 10 turns probably. We do see that wall finally come up onto c4. This wall is now able to capture here, also protect this d4 stack. A lot of options now. Nohat at 12.5 minutes on the clock versus 1:15. All right, we see that capstone come left. Not a tack threat, but a strong position. White can make a tack threat by playing at d1 on the next turn. That would be in the horizontal direction here. May also decide to play it at g3 instead. Or at f4. All right, plays at g2. So makes the tack threat in the horizontal direction. Let's see if Abyss sees it. He is low on time. Been under a minute for several minutes, apparently. Does see it, spots it, places there at d1. Now, this offers black the opportunity in the next turn to play at d3 and make a tack threat of his own. Unless white does it for him. Placing here at d3 would be a tack threat for white. And that's exactly what he does. Places at d3, stops black from placing at d3, also creates the tack threat in 2 ways. That would be the vertical and this horizontal here. This is a very strong move. And it is not Tenué because black can bring this capstone stack all the way down here to f3 and f2, but very close to Tenué. Very close to Tenué because this flat here at d3 is so strong, providing this horizontal threat, this vertical threat. Bringing this down or over doesn't stop both of those. He needs to do something about both, and the only way he can stop both is bringing this capstone stack down all the way to f2. Actually, no, that doesn't stop them both. I think this is Tenué. Is this Tenué? This might be Tenué. Yeah, I think he saw that it was Tenué. That was a great play there. Great play. Really well played there from NohatCoder and from Abyss, especially Abyss playing so low on time. I mean, this is 12 seconds on the clock there. But I think he saw that it was Tenué for him and he wasn't going to be able to stop. But yeah, great move there, playing at d3. I knew it was going to be the move to play because that's where black wanted to play and because it continued this vertical line. But I completely spaced on the fact that it created this horizontal line also. And the black wouldn't be able to move this capstone or this, though. Fantastic. That great Tenué there from NohatCoder. So, well done. That was fantastic tack. So, NohatCoder wins this Chandrian Invitational Tak match. Well played to both players. Thanks everybody for watching. Be sure to check out the description below for all things TAK, especially the TAK Discord server, which is the community hub and where you can find all sorts of people to play with, whether it be online at playtak.com or online at the Discord itself, playing asynchronously. You can play just a couple minutes a day if you want to, and it's a whole lot of fun. Love doing that. But anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and until next time, have a great day and happy tacking.